Onstage, Onstage, Channel Time. Onstage, Onstage, Channel Time. Onstage, Onstage, Channel Time. Onstage, Onstage, Channel Time.
Tonight we welcome Token Girl to the stage of the Phoenix Theater. Token Girl is an Oakland-based soul project led by Liss Leigh. In 2016, Liss came on this show with the band Snow Angel playing support, but tonight she is center stage. Tonight we'll get to know her and learn about this project, and later the band will play a set of music. Please welcome to the program, Token Girl.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Just first order of business. This is the Liss show. It's 100% Liss.
Oh, that's nice.
But also we just have to acknowledge that we are crowning an undisputed champion tonight.
Oh yeah,
we have a 5-time episode at this table person, and we have a 7-time performance person, and that is Libby Cuffy.
Oh my gosh.
So this is a big moment. There's been a lot of disputes about who's the number one, and now we know.
Be the breakout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Libby is number one in my heart.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God.
See.
Yeah.
And currently number one at the table. So
yeah, number one at the table.
Actually, number 3 at the table.
Hey.
But back to the matter at hand. Token Girl. I think this is going to be, largely focused on you, Liss.
Great. Sick.
But the goal of this
That's why I picked bass as an instrument.
The goal of this first few minutes is to really make you feel comfortable with that fact of life.
Great.
But this project is representative of a shift in your musical life.
Right.
Because being a bassist, as you mentioned, that often puts you in a support role.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I think at a certain point, like, that no longer felt appropriate, and now it's like, all right, I'd like to be the person who's putting forth the direction, the person who the focus is on musically. And so that's how this group was born. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a support person, and I really love it. Like, there's a certain joy if a songwriter comes to you with their music and you contribute to it. Like, someone comes to me, or someone that I'm in a band, like I'm in Sam Chase band, and he has a new song, and I write a bass line that he really likes. Like, there's something just really joyous about that experience. But I've written my own music, I mean, since I was a baby, since I was like 5. And I don't know, just at some point, like, I graduated college and I was like, I don't want to start my own project. It's too stressful. It's going to be too much. And it just, at some point I was like, this is silly.
Well, I think it's analogous to every aspect of life. If you're a non-musician, you can in life be the person who's like taking the charge and leading the group and putting yourself out there, or you can be the person that's a part of somebody else's thing. Do you feel like there's like a relationship here with like you wanting to step out of being a support person in the musical world and like you doing the same thing in your life outside of music?
I mean, I did start the band. I graduated college December of 2015, and I moved back to Oakland in May of the following year. And then by December of that year, I started the band. So yeah, it was like, all right, so now I'm actually doing this thing, this like being a musician thing. And like, so what do I want that to mean? Like, what is important to me? So, I mean, playing in other people's band, like, that is definitely still a part of like my identity as a musician, but making sure people knew that I also have a voice in this way too became important.
Yeah, I mean, just symbolically, it's huge.
Right.
Symbolically, it's huge to be like, all right, my entire life I've kind of done this. I mean, you would put videos online if you're yourself playing or whatever, but I mean, the power, the responsibility, the vulnerability of standing center stage and saying, I wrote these songs, I'm going to sing these songs, and pretty much any critique or praise of these songs is a reflection of my artistic ability. That's,
yes.
Those are all the like thoughts that get in people's way, I think, of doing a project like this.
Yeah.
And so here we are, symbolically forming this band was a big thing, I would argue.
Yeah.
Most artists come on here and talk about vulnerability and how necessary it is to create things. This is something you've referenced too. I've interacted with you a few times, and I feel like there are some broad stroke similarities between you and me. I feel like, I mean, you can disagree, but I feel like we're both kind of guarded initially in a social way, and that can come off as like being like hard or whatever. But I also feel like we both really like being vulnerable and talking to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So is any
What's
of
your sign?
I'm an Aries. What's your sign?
Oh my God. Of course you're an Aries.
Tell me about it.
Well, I'm an Aquarius, and my boyfriend's an Aries, and my mom's an Aries, and my ex is an Aries, and
this is and then
Kind of got this Aries thing going.
I just love you guys.
Yeah,
I just love you.
Did you like me as much before you knew I was an Aries?
Definitely not, but now I'm into you.
Do you understand me a little bit better now that you know?
I
I'm
definitely
an Aries?
do. Yeah, everything makes sense.
How so? Because I look at your boyfriend, who I know.
Yes.
And
it's a top
it's
secret.
It's not a secret anymore. It was a secret for a while.
It was a secret.
You don't.
Let's give him a lot of shit about it.
You don't shit where you play music. And,
no, you
and
definitely don't. Except I do.
Except you do. And
with every
did.
person I've ever dated ever.
We talk about the Sam Chase. This is a fellow bandmate in this band.
Yes.
We tried to keep secret. The music scene's worst kept secret. But back to the matter at hand. I feel like I'm so different than this man, and yet you seem to think that it all makes sense. And I'm curious, like, tell me everything you think about astrology.
Oh my God, I can't.
Well,
There's
something.
too much.
Tell me something.
There's too much.
Well, I feel like it plays a role in you, the individual.
In me, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so like going back to the whole thing about me coming off guarded.
Yeah.
That's like something I've dealt with my whole life, is people seeing me a way that I do not see myself, and I do not feel that way. And this happens on stage too, where like people will come up to me after a show. This used to happen a lot more. And they'd be like, you seem really bored. Like, you seem really angry. Like, you seem really annoyed. Like, all these emotions that I definitely was not feeling. And
I've gotten some of that myself.
Yeah. And it just honestly, like, it really was flabbergasting at first. And then it was really annoying, because I was like, do you just want me to smile because I'm a chick? Or like, what? Like, am I just for your gaze? It just confused me. But yeah, I get that socially a lot too. People are like, oh, I thought you hated me. And it's what it is like, I'm not guarded. I just,
You're just drawn that way.
yeah, I just don't bullshit. Like, I am never going to be a bubbly person. I am like quiet a lot of the time, just because like I feel like if I say something, I want it to be worth saying. And sometimes if I'm really comfortable around people, I'll be like really, but like, you know, it's I don't feel like I'm guarded. I just feel like I'm very upfront about how I feel, and people take that the wrong way.
Yeah, and to be fair, or to be honest rather, I didn't really know how to describe it, because I didn't want to fall into the trap of people being accidentally misogynistic, you know, because I mean, it could be guarded, but I don't really know what it is, but I know it's a thing because I see parts of myself in it.
Yeah. It's tricky because my mom is the same way, and like seeing my mom like interact with people, I'm like, Mom, you seem really grumpy right now. And she's like, I'm not. And I'm like, okay, well, like, I don't know. So,
how does the astrological sign play into this, do we think? Well, of course, but in this very narrow example.
Well, I'm an Aquarius, Pisces cusp, and Aquarius is an air sign, and they're supposed to be very like, we're supposed to be like very in our head. Sorry, we're supposed to be very in our head, and we kind of see the bigger picture, and are supposed to be like the human, like we want what's good for the whole and not just for like the one person. So I feel like for me, I don't know. I just think kind of very practically in social situations, where I think other people maybe might be more diplomatic or more. I'm not a very good host.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, I will help you if you want water, but just go help yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like And that comes off root. Like, it doesn't even occur to me that, like,
to offer water.
Yeah, it's like, if you need it, you should tell me, and I will get it, sure. But like, I can't figure it out on my own.
I always kind of read it just in my limited interactions with you as just an offshoot of social anxiety. But do you think it's more than that, or do you think that's like this kind of the source in a social setting?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I moved 13 times before college, and I lived a lot of places. Like, I lived Germany and England and Berkeley and Oakland and Hayward and Marin, and then I went to Sonoma State.
Was this a military family?
No, my mom's just a weirdo.
Yeah. Cool. We should get her on the show. Should have had her here tonight.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's my best friend. It was for corporate, like a corporate job.
Yeah.
And then she just kind of did it because I think it just fed her soul in a certain way.
Yeah.
But growing up, it was really weird because I would like walk into I was perpetually the new girl, and that's like really tricky, you know. And I was constantly trying to figure out the culture of the place I just walked in on, and I never really figured it out. I always kind of felt like an outsider, and I still kind of feel like an outsider a lot of the time. Like, I don't really understand how people interact a lot. And yeah, that makes me totally socially anxious because I'm just like, I used to say as a kid, it seems like everyone else when they were born got a manual on like how to interact and be a person, and I didn't get it because I don't understand.
I love that explanation because it's the opposite of Spike Sykes, who was on the show, part of Awesome Hotcakes, and he was a part of a military family, so he moved around a lot too. Mm-hmm. But he took it. Probably this has to do with his sign versus your sign.
Probably.
But, like, he would be the guy who would like move into town and be like, "Hey, everybody, I'm here. Let's be friends." Yeah. And that was like kind of the equal and opposite. Whereas you were sort of guarded. You were kind of like, you would walk into a room, you would assess the room, and you would just kind of be like, all right,
yeah,
this is the room.
Yeah.
Which I identify a lot more with personally than that. So
yeah.
But then I'm an Aries.
Well,
so.
I have to read the rest of your chart because there's definitely factors. But the Aries is a fire sign, so you are very outgoing.
Do you want to, whatever you want to tell me about myself?
I can't. I need to know what time you were born.
I think around 7 a.m.
No, there's no around. I need to know exactly what time you were born.
Should we call my mom right now and find out? Because I've
definitely been like at a party, been like, call your mom. Do it.
Yeah. If I told you the time, could you tell me stuff?
Yeah.
Do you want to? This is a great way to eat up time in the interview that you were nervous about.
Yeah, I can do it.
I'll FaceTime her. We'll see what happens. But anyway.
Ted's going to be so stoked because we like bonded about astrology in the van.
Well, let's talk about, okay, first of all, Libby Cuffey, bandmate to Liss Leigh in Token Girl.
And one of my oldest friends.
One of your oldest friends.
What time were you born?
Libby doesn't know. Oh gosh.
So anyway, how do you feel like the astrological stuff has affected your creative relationship? Do you feel like it plays a role at all in the way that you're able to mesh and get along so well?
I would say so. I mean, I know I'm a Cancer, but that's about all I know. Someone told me I'm a Pisces moon, but I can't really call it.
Yeah.
I know that I cry a lot in that. I definitely get like in my head, but I think that we both hold a lot of space for each other in this kind of creative space, in this creative endeavor, and that definitely feels really good. And that we've been playing music together for a long time definitely helps. We already have an understanding of each other's habits and can merge those two together.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about astrology. Yeah. I mean, probably if I read your chart, I could figure it out.
Are you trained in this?
No, it's just like I just have read a lot about it.
I love it because like I don't spend a lot of time with it, but I feel like it number one, it tells you so much about the person. Yeah. And number two, it always kind of resonates in some way. You know what I mean? It's always like, oh yeah, I guess I am that way.
Yeah, it's super awesome.
You know, in your face, fiery, won't back down, emotional. There's a lot under the surface.
Every Aries I know, they're like, oh, every time I read an Aries description, it just feels like me.
What's your sign, Tom Gaffey?
Right behind you. I'm a Taurus. I'm a Taurus.
Oh, little Taurus baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Libby and I like went to college together, and I feel like that's such like a, I don't know. Like, I don't know how other people's experiences is, but like college for me was rough. Like college, like that age, like the first 2 years I think are good. And then like you start to get hit by like the crushing weight of adulthood and like responsibility. And that's like scientifically, that's when a lot of mental stuff starts sprouting up. Like, you know, like on a heavier, like that's when like schizophrenia will come out, but like a lot of anxiety and depression, like that comes out in your early 20s a lot. So I don't know, for me college was a lot. And yeah, and I was a hot mess, and I just feel like Libby and I were just like, I feel like we've seen each other at like our worst, and we've just been witness to like our growth as humans. So I think that's great for our playing.
Do you feel like there's a relationship between the progress you've made in vulnerability as an artist and the progress you've made in vulnerability as an individual? Like the ability to be vulnerable in both those settings? Yeah,
well, it's funny because like circling back to what you're saying about like me seeming guarded, it's just like, I'm actually not. I will literally tell a stranger like anything.
You did to me at the what was it? The restaurant and club in Berkeley. We were sitting at the table.
Starry Plow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You told me a deep, dark secret. You and your bandmate before anybody knew.
Yeah, but
it's a secret.
Jim, you have a talent at that, though.
I find that most people will tell you things if you just ask, but people just feel weird about asking.
Yeah, you're the one who feels weird about asking.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't really.
Yeah. But I think, and it goes back to that thing. It's like, I feel like if people don't want to tell you, they'll just say they just won't. They'll, you know.
Yeah, of course, I didn't know to ask. I didn't know you had a deep, dark secret, and yet
I think everyone has a deep, dark secret. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm like really open about my, like, I deal with pretty heavy depression and social anxiety. Like, I've dealt with body issues and like low self-esteem. I don't like always believe in myself as a musician, and I definitely don't believe in my project all the time. Ooh. You know?
Boy, I do.
Oh, thank you. It's just all this heavy stuff, and it's just like, if anyone asked, I would tell you. And I think that's kind of how I feel about my music. What is funny though, when I like, I can write all these songs about like hating people and breakups and all this heavy stuff, all that dark stuff. But what I struggle with, what's like really, really vulnerable for me, is love songs. Like, that is when we don't have one. Like, I'm working on one right now. And
commentary on our man. Can we say his name out loud?
On my boo?
Yeah, commentary on your boo. Really, it is.
On my boo?
I mean, I think the closer that you're able to write one of those songs, the closer you are to actually, feeling that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of power in the hate songs.
There's so much power, and I'm so much more comfortable being like angry or sad.
Well, that's because that's not vulnerability. That's control. You know what I mean? That's like, I'm making the decision to close you out, and I'm making the decision to point out everything that's going on with you. Loving someone and letting someone love you back is like you basically being like, well, here I am. I'm going to put myself in a position to be destroyed by you if you so desire, but also I'm putting myself in a position to be loved by you.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
God damn.
The whole point of the song is that it's just healthy love, and it just feels really good.
This in progress song,
yeah.
You're feeling it. You're feeling healthy love.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the whole time I'm just like, this is cheesy. I don't want to finish this. Like, this is dumb.
Yeah. And yet, feels good.
Feels good. Feels fine.
I love you just being kicking and screaming towards a little bit of love.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? And I read that in one of the things I read about you today is actually you were in love and you wrote the breakup song while you were still in love with this guy, or at least still in a relationship.
Oh yeah, that one was actually with a woman.
It was that just to get out of having to write a love song, or what's the story?
We are jumping ahead, but
we're jumping ahead.
We are,
yeah, but that relates right now.
I like that love song that he mentions that we will talk about later, probably, because
It's like an anti-love song.
Well, no, it's not a love song. It's a breakup
It's a
song.
breakup song.
It's called Sinking Ship, and you say it's a classic breakup song, but I would disagree. I would say it's got the beautiful twist of like most breakup songs are, oh, the breakup happened. Let's write about it.
Yeah.
You, my friend, you're a step ahead. Relationship is still going on.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what? Let's write a
Yeah.
breakup song about this relationship.
I mean, sometimes you're with someone and you're just like, this person's going to break my heart. Like, you just know.
Yeah.
It's like coming.
Well-
And that was my first queer relationship.
Did you play a song for her? Had she ever heard the song while you were in the relationship?
I think I did play it for her. Yeah.
Did she get it?
Yeah, I think she just maybe just was like,
But so that was a relationship where you had your heart broken.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened, and I'm sorry that you brought it up.
Yeah. Oh my God. No,
I mean,
it's
we were
totally
talking
fine.
about love. We're talking about happiness.
That's true, yeah.
Well,
Well, that song hasn't been written yet.
that's true. Well, I mean, as long as we're on that song, no, you know what? We'll come back to it.
Yeah, come back to it.
Well, I guess what this is all leading to is like, again, this is not me saying that you don't smile enough or whatever, and this is totally social stuff, not stage presence. But
Well, maybe I don't, but I'm not gonna start.
I would like you to. I would actually like you to smile less.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
But what it's all leading to is like, I'm curious, like, what do you think people get most wrong about you from afar?
That. Yeah. All
Everything
of
you just described. I had a
Yeah.
feeling that that was
Yeah.
what it was.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Just like that people think. Yeah, going back to astrology.
Please.
Pisces is the sign of the conscious, unconscious. The conscious, unconscious. The great whole. It's this like it's the collective unconscious. Sorry, that's what I meant. It's a sign of the collective unconscious. It's like of dreams and energies and like, I don't know, just, yeah, that kind of thing. So it's very empathetic. And if you look at my chart, I have like 1 million planets in this sign. So I've always felt really empathetic, really emotional. Like I feel people's energies all the time, like hard. If someone's upset, like I can tell. Like the people I'm in a relationship with, like if they're ever like not in a good mood, but they're like trying to hide it, I'm like, what's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. And they're like, I'm not very good at like letting it go.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
and then they want to burrow, and then you feel like, no, we're talking about this now sort of situation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've always felt like, really emotional and like really like connected to people and like really like, yeah, like empathetic and almost like a bleeding heart to people who suffer. But I come off a different way. Like people think that I don't care or that I'm cold or that like, I've gotten bitchy a lot and I've kind of like learned to own it. Yeah. And it sucks actually because, I would like for people to think differently, but the people who matter figure it out.
What time are you born at?
11:54 a.m.
Wow.
She knows.
You got to sleep in and everything.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How is that different than if you were born at 11:54 p.m.? Like, you don't have to exactly
So
tell me.
different.
But how? Like,
Your rising sign would be different and your moon, because the moon goes through multiple signs in a day.
yeah.
It's like every 2 hours.
Do you know what the midnight version of you would have been like?
No, but I could like it's all in an app.
Yeah.
I could find out.
I'm fascinated by it because this is an area of interest. Number one, this show is about learning about the artist, but also number two, it's like, it's not just like you like to play water polo or whatever. It's like,
I like to be
you
a
have like
big old
you have a
nerd about
belief
astrology.
system about like what makes us who we are and how we interact as people.
It's also like there are a lot of things that are very embedded in queer culture, and like I've always been bi, but I never really like. It took falling in love with a woman and dating a woman a couple of years ago to be like, oh yeah, I'm gay. Oh right, like this is a culture that I can be a part, that I am literally a part of, whether I'm conscious of it or not, because I am this identity. And so for some reason, gays love astrology. Like we just do. I don't know why.
We like it.
And so it's just one of those things that like I fell in love with it when I fell in love with a woman, and it was what I took out of that. It was one of the things I took out of that relationship, and it feels really good. It's like part of this identity to me.
Yeah. See, what I find interesting about you bringing that up is like, I don't know if early in your life you felt like a sense of anything negative about your sexual identity. No, you just didn't even think about it.
Mm-mm.
No. But like then you discovered it, and it like informed your sense of identity in a major way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about it really.
But you didn't think about it.
Yeah. I made a friend when I was 13, and we were talking outside. Like I remember this exact moment, and she was like, I'm bi. And I was like, what does that mean? She was like, it means I like both guys and girls, which like now years of, things are different. Guys, girls, non, they, them, all the things is what bi means. But anyway.
It's a wonderful spectrum.
Yes. It's a beautiful, sexy spectrum.
Yeah.
And she said that, and it like just clicked in my brain, and 13-year-old me was like, oh, that's me. And then I was just like, yep. And like my mom has always been really open about sexuality. Like she's always been really, I don't know. I just it didn't feel like a thing to feel shame around.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay. And then I put it away, and then I hooked up with women, but I, like getting older, but I always dated cis guys. And so I just was like, I'm not queer enough. I'm not gay enough to call myself gay. I don't get to call myself queer because I've never dated a woman. That's just never happened, which is not how queerness works. It doesn't. So anyway.
You should finish that sentence though, because I think it's important for people to hear it.
Why
is that not how queerness works?
It's not based off of who you have sex with or how many times you have sex with a certain gender. It's it's yours, it's like very like you get to define it. Somebody else doesn't get to define it for you.
And I know that. I think
but I just
wanted I know that, and a lot of people don't.
And I still don't. Like there's still things I think like I want to grow my hair out. And I'm like, but I'm dating a cis straight guy. Like now everyone is going to look at me and think I'm straight, but I want to grow my hair out. It's just, and that's such a dumb thought, but it's like, that's what society tells me. It's like, you have to look gay enough if you want to call yourself that.
Yeah. I cut off like most of my hair and cut off my eyebrows.
But all that stuff is so important for identity. I mean, I fell in love with that woman when I was 23. And then I found this amazing queer culture and I made these amazing friends, and I changed the way I dressed and styled, and I looked at things differently, and it really changed things for me. But it was funny because it was this identity I'd always had in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm just curious, like, why do you think it changed you? Like discovering the culture? Was it just like the meeting new people, being a part of new culture, and it just sort of like, it kind of transfers to you, like the experiences of the people and like the ways of looking at the world and stuff? Or do you think it's different than that?
I mean,
I only ask because like, me embracing my own queerness has changed me a lot.
Yeah, it does, right?
And it's something that 10 years ago, you say, Tom's like, mine didn't change me at all.
Not that much. I'm just
bullshit.
I don't know.
Fight.
Are you two in a scrap right now?
I love it. No. I love it. No, we'll go. This is about Liss, but we will talk about that.
Okay.
No, because it was something that it would hold very close to me, and sometimes I would think like, this isn't that big of a deal. There's some overlap with you and I there, where it's like it's something that was in the back of your mind, but it wasn't like necessarily a sense of shame. It was just like, well, I don't get to do this. I don't really care that much, and I'm not going to put a lot of energy into it, because when I look at what the other people who are doing this do, it looks so much different than my own life.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really a part of that club, even though like sometimes I feel like I am. And then you have a set of experiences and you're like, oh my goodness, like I can still be me, but I can also still like be a part of this community and this culture.
Yeah.
And it affected the way that I relate to people. It made sense of a lot of the things that I was doing already. It just I felt more at ease with myself.
There's just something about like unlocking a part of you, being like, oh right, that's part of my identity. You know, it's kind of like akin to like bringing home my first bass. I was just like, I played a blues and I was like, oh yeah, this is what I do. Got it. And there's this whole culture in, you know, especially jazz. There's like, you know, you go to the jazz major party and you all hang out and nerd out about this record and you like you jam together and like, you know, there's even like, I feel like there's like a sense of style. There's like fashion sense and all this.
Oh
like,
yeah. The Jazz Bro starter pack is totally a thing.
So yeah, I don't like, yeah, there's just something specifically about being in a group, like in a queer space too, that's like everyone has this like wide range of different experiences, but you can still all relate. It's still this like unifying thing, and it's like really beautiful. And it's like we're just so grateful that we get to like celebrate each other like in this space and feel safe. And I wish it could relate to other spaces as well. You know, I went to my first Pride when I was on tour last year with a different band I'm in, and we went to a Seattle Pride, and it was like at the end of the day and it had completely finished and like there was nothing really happening, and I was sober at the time and I went with another sober person, and it was just so much fun and so beautiful to just see like all these different ranges of people, and everyone is just so happy to see you, like just so excited that you're there. And it's just being queer, it feels like a celebration of life, I guess, is what it is. So, and it's hard to relate to other people sometimes. But a good example I feel like is like, I talk about my boo too much.
No, it's good.
But we went.
This person is changing your life, changing the way you write songs.
He's the best.
Yeah.
We went to a holiday party, and it was a queer holiday party. And my really good friend Jules gave him a fuzzy onesie. And all night, everyone would come up to him and be like, hey, do you mind if I just touch your sleeve? It's just so fuzzy. Is this okay? And after the party, he was just like, oh, that's what consent feels like. That's what it feels really good to just have people. You don't even have to assert any boundaries at all. Like, people are just automatically respecting you and your person. It was just this tiny thing, you know?
Feels so good.
Yeah.
It feels
really
good.
So good, because I feel like queer people on the fringes, like people of color, you know, trans, non-binary, like all this, we're just like, it's just this understanding of like, I don't know, being on each other's side.
Yeah, you get it. It's like, if I were to relate it to like hanging out with jazz majors at a party, it's when people just start quoting the lick and just going do it in the middle of jams. You're like, oh, you're a friend. You get it.
Yeah, it's just finding people you feel at home with. Yeah.
Like when someone asks me for my pronouns when I first meet them, I'm like, hey, okay.
Feels really good.
All right. We can hang out even longer.
Yeah. Well, there's just like a level of like social awareness and sensitivity, which, I mean, in fairness to the people who, you know, aren't the others, like it's not something that we have historically really taught. So that's what makes this like push and pull difficult in living in society and community with people.
Oh yeah.
And that's where frustrations mount, etc. But especially when somebody you don't expect asks you for your pronouns, that's where you're just like, oh, we're making progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really gratifying thing. And it's nice to have that be unexpected. So I think it allows, in certain cases, like an ease to make that more apparent to other people in specific settings when you feel comfortable in that setting, or if you I don't know, it's one of those things where it kind of depends. You're not sure if you're going to be safe in certain places, so you don't necessarily want to like talk about that. But in places where you don't feel safe, and then somebody is on the same wavelength as you. You're like, oh, okay. Well, I know I have at least one friend over here, and this feels a little bit better. So I'm gonna hold on to this sweet little feeling for a second and carry this with me in other experiences and other spaces.
I just got a FaceTime from my mother.
Are we doing this?
Should we? Do you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll call her back.
Okay.
Very exciting.
Oh,
I'm
this
gonna
is
put.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start putting your info in.
Can we get her on the show? Can we?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Here we go. Let's hope that she answers. She's probably a little tie-tie.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? It's your son, Jim.
I know. I didn't mean to FaceTime you the first time.
No, I meant to FaceTime you. Hey, I had a question. We're recording the show right now, the Onstage with Jim and Tom show.
Oh, okay.
You're on.
Yeah. Hey, what time was I born at? Can you hear me?
You were born. Let's see. You were born at about 7:13, I think.
7:13 in the AM?
AM.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know
What town?
it's late. What town was I born at? Santa Rosa. I was born in Santa Rosa.
There you go.
Memorial Hospital.
Thank you very much. What a day it was for all of us. I'll talk to you in a little while. Probably tomorrow. All right.
Talk to you tomorrow, honey.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Oh, that was really cute.
All right. So there's my mother.
Oh my God, so cute. So when is your birthday?
March 30th, 1984. I'll tell you something. I think that she's been the beneficiary of some of the change in me embracing my queerness. I feel like I'm able to express love better. I feel like there were a lot of parts of me emotionally that have been shut off because of that. But I do think you're right. I think I've tried to while she looks this up. That's the only reason we're talking
I'm
about
listening.
me.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like maintaining my strong sense of identity, who I am, and not changing because circumstances around me change. Just be not becoming another person necessarily, but building on what I already am and feel strongly about has always been important to me. But also it's been stymieing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, because my experience with you is you've been such a forward charger, and that hasn't changed since, that I've noticed at all. You can still pull people's souls out of them at the drop of a hat, which is most incredible to me.
It's true. I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
When we did this earlier in the episode.
Your chart.
It's because of my chart. Yeah. Well, what? Tell me.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Drum roll.
It's
Cymbal crash.
okay. So I'm not the best at reading charts, but I'll try my best. So basically, okay. So
Can we do Tom's after this too?
I don't know what time.
Fuck. Sorry. We'll call your dad.
I'm like, what? What time is it? Okay, so the planets.
He wasn't there. Go ahead.
The planets represent different human needs.
Yeah.
So the sun, your sun sign is the one that you know, and your sun sign is your life force. It's like your ego. It's what makes you feel the most yourself. So the sign that your planets are in, that's how you get those needs met. So if your sun is in Aries, then the Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it's a baby soul, and all it wants to do is experience life, and probably make a lot of mistakes on the way. But it's all about new experiences, and getting out there, and maybe a little self-centered, but it's just you're just trying to figure out what is going on. But it's all about new experiences. So it can come off kind of maybe brash a little.
I accept that.
So that's your sun sign. So you probably know that one. Your moon is your shadow side. It's represents the mother. It's how you're nurtured, how you feel most nurtured, and also how you nurture others. So it's freaking hilarious because your moon is in Pisces, the sign I was just talking about, being this empathetic, the collective unconscious. It's dreams and mysticism and empathy. It's also the sign of like addictions, because people who have a lot of like heavy Pisces influence, like they just feel so much, they like drown it in like alcohol and drugs.
We got a lot of that
Yeah.
in the family.
Yeah. Same. So yeah, so you're a Pisces moon, which is awesome and just kind of hilarious that I was talking about it. And then so these are the big three. And then your rising sign is not a planet, but it's like the point at which the horizon was at when you were born. And it's like how you come off to the world. So a lot of the time, like it can explain why you come off differently than you feel. This is also funny to me, but your rising is Taurus. So it might make sense that you guys get along, you know, because how you interact, like how you how you react to things, and what people see you as. And Taurus is it's a sensual sign. It's all about like love of like food and art and just like feeling good and being comfy, and also like stubbornness. It's a bull, so it's like knowing what you like and like sticking with that because you know that's what you like. So that's your big three.
Thank you.
There's a lot more I could go into it, but I will.
To the token girl fans out there, I'm so sorry that you had to listen to my sign, but but it all relates, because if you
it makes so much sense.
It does, and you kind of did your own self reading earlier on, and as two people who kind of
have
see,
that Pisces influence.
Yeah, exactly. We have that Pisces influence.
Yes.
So you see us across the room, you're like, boy, that person is a real this word or that word, and they need to smile more. You
also have a lot of Scorpio influence, which is another water sign, and it's all about death and mystery and like cutting. Scorpio is about cutting through the bullshit. So this is very important. Very apt for you.
It's the only way I know how. And actually, that whole thing came in handy for this episode, for what you just said. So you don't need to go into it, but you referenced that you as well have had addiction issues in your family. And how do you think that has affected your development as a person?
So it's okay.
I know it's kind of it's
tricky because I grew up around a program that its whole basis is anonymity, and one of its basic principles is keeping out of being associated with pretty much anything. So I don't want to talk about it and give things away.
Here's what I would say. I kind of have a sense where the two sides of your answer are going to come from. One are going to be from the personal experience you've had, which you're free to share, because if you want, but I mean, that's your story, not anybody else's story.
Sure.
The other side would be like the child that grew into the adult that sits at this table. Yeah. Like how the addiction being near your development into a person, like how that affected you. Because I can tell you that for me, it has had a profound impact. Yeah. It's caused me to be like ascetic and monk-like in a way that I wouldn't be otherwise. Yeah. Partially because I see myself in the family members that have fallen, and I say like, my goodness, that is me. Yeah. And only by the grace of God did I not do that. And it's mine to ruin. So let's not do that. Yeah. So like I only asked that question again because I see a bit of myself. I would love to talk about it. So the addiction thing, like I had a really interesting experience because I grew up around two people who were addicts, but they were sober. So like heavy in recovery programs, spiritual programs. But I never knew either of them to be active drinkers. But I grew up in meetings, and there's just like, it definitely opened me up to like, I've never been an atheist, I've always believed in like, there's something bigger. And there's this whole thing in AA where it's just like there's something bigger than you. And essential to the program. It's essential. It's literally the first step.
So I've honestly, like, I love AA. Like, I love it. It's all about looking at yourself in a very frank and open way, looking at your faults and not blaming anyone else.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
If people went to AA like they go to college, the world would be such a better place.
Yeah.
Even non-drinkers.
Yeah.
The whole idea of like these conflicts I have in my life, these problems I have in my life that I am often pushing on other people and saying, how dare you do that to me?
Yeah.
You know, all the ego and stuff. AA, it's built around like just
You're powerless
flipping
over that person,
flipping
or
that,
whatever.
and just
You're
being like,
powerless over this thing
exactly.
that's happening. People hate, but that word, people get really powerless. What do you mean? What if I do this and I do that? It's just anyway.
So sorry to interrupt, but like I do agree.
Yeah, and it's like, because I grew up in it, like it took me years to realize that people don't feel that way about it. They're like, oh, it's like a cult, because there's a lot of God talk in it. But I'd never like considered myself religious. You know, it seemed to me like a crazy idea that we're just like all here on just like happenstance, you know? So to me, it's like, of course there's something, I don't know what it is, but it makes sense to me. I don't know. So I didn't know a lot of active addicts, but I knew a lot of the stories. And there's something about sober alcoholics, like hanging out with them. It's a similar thing to being queer, actually. It's just like everyone is so different, but they can all relate. And there's this unifying experience that they've had, maybe different stories, you know? But it's this look of like, I am so happy you're here, you're safe, you're alive, and we're together right now. And it's just like, and I love that kind of, that feeling, you know? Not to say it's not full of a bunch of assholes. I mean, it is too. But I just have this like gratitude of just like, I'm so happy that you are here and I am here.
Yeah.
So,
so obviously, thank you for formulating that, because that informs the adult you've become in a different way than I thought it was going to.
yeah.
But
Yeah, totally.
But that's great. I mean, that's like you kind of being in AA from ages 0 to 18.
Yeah. 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 I'm not an addict, but I've definitely used drugs and alcohol to avoid certain things. So when I got my heart broken after my first queer relationship, there was something about the first queer relationship that really takes it out of you. That I just, I was just drinking a lot to deal with it. And I also have depression. And so it's just like a terrible combination. So for a period of time I was going to AA, and I like got a lot out of it, and it made it so I could like come back to drinking with just like a completely different, I'm not like vouching for anyone to do what I did. Like, if you think you need to get sober, like get sober and stay sober, please. Like, this is just my very personal experience with it.
What was it you said? You said something about in the lead up to this about you obviously one drowns their feelings in substance,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you wrote like, though you've kind of hit the reset button on that and you're not abusing it like you were the alcohol, you do still find a way of like sometimes drowning your feelings in like relationships. You said something like that. Does that?
Oh yeah, I mean that's something that you talk about a lot in AA. It's like, what other addictions are you just gonna go to?
What do you feel like you're drowning your negative feelings in now?
For once, nothing. I've worked like really hard to be where I'm at right now. So I'm just hyper aware of the things I am capable of doing, and I'm definitely capable of like hiding in another person and avoiding my problems with, drinking too much, but like, I don't know, like I go to therapy every week and I just started antidepressants again and feel pretty centered right now.
And the love. It's starting to creep in.
Lots of love. I have someone who loves me a lot, so it helps me love me a lot too.
Well, earlier this year, my goodness, this band released a cassette.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the most recently released kind of basically like artistic reflections of where you're at, and like and all that. And so we talked a little bit when we got ahead of ourselves earlier in this interview about one of the songs. I know, we were all disappointed. But there's another one called...
I wasn't.
called 10. We haven't talked about 10. So this is a cassette. There are 2 songs on it. I want to talk about this song. Yeah. Because there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on.
And actually, I feel like we've now given the audience a lot of context for a lot of context.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we've written the character. We've really done a lot of building of this character. And now we get to see this character in the wild.
Yeah.
So here we are, 10.
Yeah.
Liss, tell us about this song.
Yeah, well, so I wrote the bass line of like years ago, and then the first verse is what is the first verse? I asked for a nickel and you gave me a dime. I thought we'd learn the value of each other's time. And no one asked you for the reason. No, wait. Yeah, and no one asked you the reason you came, but I know that you'd jump at the chance just to call my name.
You're talking to a guy?
Yeah.
Perhaps
it was supposed to be...
Not my word, a douchey guy.
A douche.
I would never say that. But.
It was supposed to be me talking to like, at the time I was like, it's just this imaginary, not that I did have plenty of real fuck boys in my life.
You know that word, Tom? Fuckboy?
Fuckboy.
Yeah, have you heard that term before?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
I just make
sure. But at the time it's that same comfort zone of like me being sassy and like, who do you think you are? And like, da 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 da. And then I put it away, and then all that stuff happened with the bad breakup and getting sober, and I came back to it, and I realized it's like, I don't think I am talking to a person. I think I'm talking to the parts of myself that I don't like, and trying to not let them have power over me, and deciding that like I can let go of what doesn't serve me. And a lot of it was just like I didn't like the person I was when I drank. So like revamping that and like realizing like that's not who I am. And like making sure that I'm always who I want to be.
So your Token Girl EP, 2018 EP, ends with the song Don't Wanna Be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that maybe, we've actually talked a lot about this kind of concept on this interview, but like earlier, it seemed like a good way to wrap this up would be to ask you not what you don't want to be, but like what you want to be.
Oh.
Because I think about my life and I think about that song, and I think like a lot of decisions throughout my life have been based on like what I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
And it feels like only recently has it been what I want to be. And this is, I don't know, it's a broad prompt, but.
Yeah, totally. Well, I want to be, I want to be like brave with my music, because right now I feel very fearful, and I want to like believe in myself, like in my project and just like in as myself as a musician, and I want to be like a safe place for people, Like I want them to know that it's like totally fine to be themselves around me. Maybe I won't like you, but it's okay. You know? Like no judgment. Yeah, I just want to be like ever growing. Just constantly finding ways to improve like who I am and what I'm doing. Yeah, and I just want to like be in the moment more and just like to harness like that feeling we were talking about earlier with drunks or with queers, this idea of like we're just so grateful to like be here. Like I just want to remember that more, that feeling of like this is short, like whatever we're doing here is not permanent. So like I want to remember to celebrate it.
Tom Gaffey.
Well, I mean, I hate to get back to the music, but dude, it's just like jazzy, smoky, holy cow, with a little bit of sultry going there. It's just horns and what a band.
Thank you.
Libby gets to like stretch out on a little MIDI there or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm still using that Casio, by the way.
Did it work?
It's really good.
Oh,
it's gorgeous.
Context.
Far
Tom
out.
Gaffey gave Libby Cuffey Casio.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had no idea what to do with that thing, and
I know
I'm
everything.
so glad it's getting used. Beautiful. Good.
Liss Leigh,
That's me.
anything we left out about your life, this music, this experience?
I feel
any closing
really.
thoughts?
That was so nice. That was such a lovely time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for having me.
thank you.
Yeah.
I mean,
And thanks to Libby for being amazing.
What are you talking? Get out of here. You're
I
so
love you
sweet.
so much. Oh my God. Yeah.
an unexpectedly cool thing about Onstage is what happened tonight, which is you were on this stage over 3 years ago with Snow Angel, not the Snow Angels, a mistake that many of us were making earlier today. And you just, were there, and we didn't really get to know each other. We were in the same room. We said hi.
Mm-hmm.
You sat at the table with
How long ago was that?
March of 2016.
It was a long time ago.
You
That was
sat
right
at the
before the summer of fuckboys.
There were fuckboys galore, and we
R.I.P.
thank them for their service. But you were at the table with 10 other people.
Yeah.
And you've had a lifetime of experiences and growth in those 3 years. I mean,
Yeah, it's crazy.
You probably feel like a different person than the
Completely.
person that's out of that
Oh,
table.
yeah.
So it's very cool that, now you get to come back and we get to zoom in on you.
Yeah.
I just thank you for coming. We get to learn about
so
you
much.
now. And it's like, I'm glad we got to get this project on because you've been playing for how long with this project?
Well, we started in December of 2016.
Okay, so almost
2.5 years.
So that was like the on stage that you were on with Snow Angel was a symbolic thing. It was like, all right, this is going to be close to the end of me
Yeah.
being support, and now my main thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
you
Although
know,
I am still support. Come check out the Sam Chase and the Untraditional.
that's true.
See me and my boo.
See you and your boo. All I want to say is that I know that it can be, we talked a lot about vulnerability on the show, but it's like, I
Yeah.
know that it can be kind of intimidating coming and doing this,
Totally.
and talking about all the stuff. And thank you, because this was a
Yeah.
wonderful conversation
Thank you so much.
and it felt
Had an
good.
amazing time. I loved reading your chart. That made my whole entire life.
That was so good.
Pisces moon baby. Everything. I'll send you more info.
The band is Token Girl. You can find their stuff online, and in this era, they've been playing live a lot, so you can check them out in that way as well. Either way, you should stick around because a performance from this group is
stick
up
around.
next. Token Girl, a 6-piece version of Token Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 6-piece version of Token Girl
Yeah, 6
is
piece.
up next. Token
6
Girl,
incredible pieces.
Token Girl, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Darling, know your eyes are of a dream. Lovely. And I see desire underneath. Ooh. skin is cold to touch. Heartbeats. Can I raise your body heat enough with my love? Can I see? Strip down. Need to know how deep your love can be. Ooh. In my dreams you whisper soft to me. Sweet things. Do you want this power over me? Ooh. 'Cause I just want to know, can I swim in your seas? Or will you drown in me? All I wanna know is how you feel. You walk this line with me, space between want and need, darling. I'll meet you there. Can I swim in your sea? I'm in my head today since you walked away. No loss of limb, no room for growth. Yeah, you stood in my way. They say the path is paved with good intention, but what we do from what we say. Got all my demons lined up talking. stain on a carpet floor, a nagging itch you can't ignore. Your logic, it runs paper thin. When you say if sin, I hear winds, and I fail to see the difference, and I fail to see the times. Your reckless optimism's helped you read between the lines. So take everything I have to give. There's no use crying over blood that's spilled. A self-fulfilling prophecy. My thoughts, they laid it out for me. Patterns that were cast in stone, but those I'd never even know. But I won't be the one to break down these walls and hope I see the lines where they fall and take for granted the lines on your face I won't remember along the way. Sky is falling down, the sky is falling down, the sky is falling down. I'm just fine, I'm just fine. Say the sky is falling down, the sky is falling down, the sky is falling down. I'm just fine, I'm just fine. Say the sky is falling down, the sky is falling down, the sky is falling down. I'm just fine, I'm just fine. Say the sky is falling down, the sky is falling down, the sky is falling down. I'm just fine, I'm just fine. Say the sky is falling down, the sky is falling down, the sky is falling down. I'm just fine, 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 I'm just fine. I don't want a lifetime unrequited love. I just want to pave the way for sacred space. Have enough. And it can seem so different, and everyone so strange. And all I really know is how to hide and hold, keep a straight face. See those star-crossed lovers convulsing at the hip. Do they ever wonder if the love they share just might rip? He fucks her like he needs her, loves her like he don't. Pulls a rug from underneath her when he leaves her, grabs his coat. You might be the only love I'll ever know. You might be the only one to see my soul, yeah. Now you might be only love I'll ever know. Now you might be only one to see my soul, yeah. Now you might be the only love I'll ever know. Ooh. I don't want a lifetime of unrequited love. I just want to pave the way for sacred space. Have enough. Nick can seem so different, and everyone's so strange. And all I really know is how to hide and hold, keep a straight face. You might be the only love I'll ever know. Now you might be only one to see my soul, yeah. Now you might be only love I'll ever know. Ooh, you might be only one to see my soul, yeah. Now you might be only love I'll ever know. Now you might be only one to see my soul, yeah. Now you might be only love I'll ever know. Now you might be only one to see my soul, yeah. Now you might be the only love I'll ever know. I asked for a nickel and you gave me a dime. I thought we learned the value of each other's time. And no one asked you for the reason that you came. But I know that you'll jump at the chance just to say my name. just like the ebb and flow and passing of time. I held this in my heart, now I wonder if I ever really had to. I can't see. The only thing that's changed here is me. Now I won't waste a minute or more wondering if I ever really have to. For a meaning outside of myself, an electric feeling, all that I held. No one asked me for the reason that I came. A craving that lingers if left, it'll stay the same. Just like the ebb and flow and passing of time. I held this in my heart, now I wonder if I ever really had to. I can't see. The only thing that's changed here is me. Won't waste a minute or more wondering if I ever really have to. Time. I held this in my heart, now I wonder if I ever really had to. I can't see. The only thing that's changed here is me. Now I won't waste a minute or more wondering if I ever really have to. Wondering if I ever really have to. Wondering if I ever